The night I met the Charro. I still remember the day I inherited my grandfather's house in a small town in Mexico. It was a quaint, picturesque place nestled in the hills of Jalisco, a far cry from the bustling city life I was used to. The air was cleaner, the people friendlier, and life moved at a slower pace. It seemed like the perfect opportunity for a fresh start. My grandfather had been a beloved figure in the town, and his passing had left a noticeable void. When I arrived, the locals greeted me warmly, as if welcoming back a long-lost family member. I didn't know much Spanish, but the basics I had picked up in high school helped me get by. The house itself was charming, albeit a bit worn down. It had a rustic feel, with old wooden beams and terracotta tiles that gave it a warm, homely atmosphere. I spent my days fixing it up, exploring the town, and trying to piece together the fragments of my grandfather's life. One particularly quiet evening, I decided to sit outside and enjoy the cool night air. I lit a cigarette and leaned back, looking up at the stars. It was then that I noticed something peculiar. At the edge of the property, near an old oak tree, stood a man dressed in traditional Charro attire. Beside him was a magnificent horse, its coat gleaming in the moonlight. The Charro just stood there, staring at me. His presence was unsettling, to say the least. I felt a chill run down my spine. I called out to him in my broken Spanish, "Hola, necesita algo?" No response. He just kept staring. I tried again, louder this time. "¿Quién eres? ¿Qué quieres?" Still, nothing. The silence was deafening, and my unease grew. The Charro and his horse started to move closer, their figures becoming more defined in the dim light. Panic surged through me, and I bolted for the house, my heart pounding in my chest. Once inside, I locked the door and peered out the window. The Charro and his horse were gone. The night was silent again, but the fear lingered. I didn't sleep at all that night, my mind racing with questions and fear. The next morning I packed my bags and left. I didn't say goodbye to the locals or look back at my grandfather's house. The charm of the town had turned into a nightmare I couldn't shake off. I returned to the city, leaving behind any thought of living in that house. Whenever someone asks me about my time in Mexico, I just tell them it wasn't for me. But deep down, I know I'll never forget that night, the Charro, and the cold, unblinking stare that drove me away. That was the last time I saw my grandfather's house. I never returned, and I never spoke of it again.